Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Synergy, where I have a confession to make. I've never seen any of the Rockies.
I have also never seen any of the Rockies, or at least not in full. I've seen the various training montages, but that's about it.
The movies or the mountains. Doesn't matter.
I don't know where to roll with that joke.
And yet I have seen all three Creed movies. It's an interesting thing. If I had to describe my point of differentiation as a film enthusiast on YouTube, it's a lot of older movies from the 80s/90s, haven't seen them. Terminator, not a 1. Matrix, not a 1. Never seen a RoboCop. Never seen a Rocky. But if you want an opinion on all the Magic Mike movies, I got you covered.
He's got your back. Or your front, depending on your outlook on those movies.
XXL is the best one of the bunch. Sometimes you just want a weird, funny movie about a bunch of friends going on a wacky road trip to a male stripper convention, you know?
I don't know if hell yeah is an appropriate response to that, in all honesty.
Hell yeah!
Alright, fair.
Anyways, I'm Cody, aka the Scarlet Troll, pronouns he, him.
And I am Greg, aka Greg, also pronouns he, him.
And this is a series where we take a look at a movie that's coming out in theaters, and we go, what's something that's related to that we can look back on that came out a while ago? And this may seem a little out of nowhere, this rambling about the Rocky movies, but since we decided the timing was not right to do a lousy video game movie as a tie into a Minecraft movie, which I'm proud to say neither of us have seen, and therefore can't really judge the quality of.
Yes.
I thought, you know what, time to get really tenuous. This is the kind of thing where I was planning on doing it if we didn't have another idea. This is my ultimate fallback option, was take a movie that's coming out, look at something by the same director. Which is why, with Sinners poised to come out, I thought, you know what would be fun? A Ryan Coogler movie. And the obvious option would have been Black Panther, but nah, you know, that's a little too obvious for me. Let's look at Creed.
We'll talk about Creed.
I want to say it's the 7th movie in this series, and the first one that's not about Rocky Balboa himself, Sylvester Stallone, although he is in it.
Yeah, it's either the 6th or... No, it is the 7th installment in the Rocky franchise, but it is, of course, the beginning of the Creed sub-series.
Right, because there were 5 of them that were numbered. Well, okay, obviously the first one wasn't numbered. They didn't call it Rocky 1 when they made it. Kind of like Star Wars wasn't called Star Wars Episode 4, but this isn't about that. Can you imagine? Can you even imagine? You go into the theater and you see Star Wars Episode 4 in a pre-internet, at least definitely... Was it pre-internet? Certainly pre the internet being a readily accessible thing, and having to go, what do you mean, episode 4? What happened to 1 through 3? Ah, well, you'll see, those will come out later, but first we gotta make 5 and 6. What are you talking about?
Hey, we'll use this incredibly ridiculous poster of Leia and Luke as a distraction point so you don't think about it, okay?
It looks very... This isn't about Star Wars, this is about Creed. Which, like I said, these are the only Rocky movies I've seen, and you know what? They're pretty dang good.
Yeah, I mean, I've only seen Creed 1, which is why we're talking about it. I haven't seen Creed 2 or 3, but this one, on its own, is pretty darn good. Yeah,
I think it works pretty well, even if you've never seen a Rocky movie, like I haven't, which is part of why I think it's pretty dang good, because, you know, obviously, I know contextually some Rocky stuff. I know punching a side of beef. I know you're gonna eat lightning and you're gonna crap thunder. I know Adrian. Maybe I'll fight Apollo today, maybe I won't. Something like that. I don't know. A lot of what I know about Rocky is probably just a bunch of memes of stuff that didn't actually happen, but people's interpretation of what happened. Doesn't matter! No, this is starring Michael B. Jordan. And he does a good job in this. He's really good.
Oh yeah, he's great in this.
And it's also got Tessa Thompson and Felicia Rashad. Wow, that's... Huh. That's crazy to me. Because that's Claire Huxtable from The Cosby Show.
Oh, that's right. Man, I can't believe I didn't put that together the first time we watched this, because I watched a lot of The Cosby Show growing up.
Zip, zop, zoobity bop, if you're gonna keep boxing... I don't know where I was going with this.
I was to say, I'm about to get really scared. I don't know where this man is going with this potential Bill Cosby joke, and that terrifies me.
Don't worry, I don't know where I was going with it either, so we're gonna move on.
Good, ...
Here we go. So this came out in 2015, which is really funny, because I made a joke while we were watching this about a certain stylistic choice, which is when notable boxers pop up, notable current boxers at least, I mean, Rocky doesn't get one when he shows up, but a lot of the up-and-coming, well, not up-and-coming because they're already well-established, but a lot of the fighters who haven't been in a previous film but are clearly big deals in the context of this movie get stat placards, basically, next to them when they pop up for the first time, and I made the joke of, oh, they've got them Suicide Squad trading card stats, and then I realized this movie came out a year before that one.
So Suicide Squad ripped off Rocky is what I'm hearing.
Suicide Squad did rip off Creed.
Yes, or Creed, rather.
Great.
Yeah.
Perfect. So no, this is about Adonis Creed, who is of course played by Michael B. Jordan, the son of Apollo Creed, played by Carl Weathers in the previous Rocky films, a rival turned not quite enemy, I think, because again, never seen a Rocky, turned friend of Rocky's, and then I know he died. I know he was killed in one of those.
Yeah, he was, I don't know if you care about spoilers of
old
Rocky movies. Okay, he was killed, I want to say, in the beginning of Rocky 4.
Dude, how could you tell me that?
I didn't think it was relevant at the time.
No, I knew I was messing with you.
Oh, okay, I was gonna say, it's like, are you serious right now?
No, I'm doing a bit.
Alright.
So, Adonis is apparently the result of an affair that Apollo had. Well, obviously, I was gonna say while he was still alive, obviously.
No, I'm not gonna let the intrusive thoughts win there. I'm gonna keep that joke to myself.
Good. Don't you do it. No, so Adonis is the son of Apollo, but he got adopted functionally by Apollo's wife, and he's had a decent life since then, but he's also felt a strong need to prove himself. He wants to be a fighter. Very vehemently not like his dad, but separate. He wants to make it on his own, but as a boxer, which...
Right.
Perhaps you've noticed the inherent weird feeling contradiction there, and good for you, that's kind of intentional.
Yeah, it's like, I want to be a boxer, like my dad, but not like my dad, but I want to be a successful boxer, even though I have the same name as my world-famous dad.
I want to be a boxer like my dad, but not the exact same kind. The kind that's alive.
Yes, the kind that's... the kind that doesn't get killed in the ring.
Oh, wait, when did Carl Weathers die? That was recently, right? I feel like that was recently. I feel like it was since we started doing the... Okay, yeah, he died in 2024. Good. Not good, but...
I was gonna say, it's like, good, he's been dead for over a year. It's like, wait a minute.
It's good that he wasn't already dead by the time of this movie, because that would have been really insensitive of me, and arguably, it still is.
Yeah.
But that's not what's important. Anyways, nobody in LA will train him, because of the fact that he's Apollo's son.
Yeah.
Because they all assume he's got a silver spoon in his mouth, and up his ass, or something. I don't know. So, he decides to move to Philadelphia, and start training that way. And along the way, who should he run into but Sylvester Stallone's own, Rocky Balboa, running a restaurant.
He has his restaurant named Adrian.
Yeah, that's sweet.
80% sweet, 20% in case you forgot what franchise this movie is part of.
No, Rocky's so sad in this, and I mean that in a positive way, because I mean, he's clearly just going through the motions, because Adrian's dead, Paulie's dead. I don't know who Paulie is, because I've never seen any of these, but apparently that's a big deal.
Yeah.
I'd assume Mickey's dead, because Burgess Meredith has been dead for, I think, almost as long as I've been alive.
Right.
So it'd be kind of weird if Mickey wasn't, because he was already pretty old in that movie, I think.
Right.
Just, there's a bit where Rocky goes to the cemetery to visit them, and it's just, it's really sweet. Because he just has a chair stuck up in a tree that he pulls down, and he talks about missing them, and he brought alcohol for Paulie and a flower for Adrian, and then he's just sitting there reading the newspaper. It's sad.
It's one of those, like, sweet old people things. It's like, since we're both here, I'm just going to tell you what's going on in the world. And it's just like, that's oddly sweet in a way. It is sad, but it's sweet, and it is a really cute form of coping, which is also feels fucked up to say at the same time.
Because I mean, Sylvester Stallone, he is not the world's greatest actor by any stretch of the imagination. But with this role in particular, it feels like there's a lot of sincerity and a lot of, I don't want to say genuine hurt, but I do want to say just, it's sincere. It's pretty sincere. you can really feel the vibes of, I'm the one who was going out there doing all this dangerous stuff, basically almost getting killed in the ring for other people's amusement, and yet I'm the one who's here, and everybody I care about is gone. Which is just, that hurts.
It does hurt. It does hurt quite a bit to see.
And so, Rocky and Adonis, they strike up a bit of a lopsided friendship that turns into a reluctant mentorship. Mentor-mentee? That's it. Mentos.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mix it with Diet Coke. Don't.
Mm-hmm.
It will explode.
Yeah, that bad things will happen. You ever been in like a middle school science class? Or at least a fun one, because they didn't do that in mine.
Me neither.
Oh, okay, you know what? That's not fair. My teacher was really cool. I had a great science teacher, but we didn't get to do a lot of the crazy-ass experiments.
You know what? You can mix Diet Coke and Mentos, but first you have to sign this waiver that we're not responsible for whatever goes wrong.
Is it from Coke or is it from Mentos?
It's the combination. It's
So yes.
Anyways.
Anyway, Creed.
Creed. No, so Adonis is determined to work his way up. He starts off just training on his own, but he starts gradually worming his way in with Rocky's good graces and getting Rocky to give him some hints and then start introducing him to people, partly out of a sense of obligation because Rocky and Apollo were such good friends, and Adonis kind of isn't afraid to dig into that, but, he wants to make it on his own.
Right.
I'm glad the movie calls him out on that a little bit.
Yeah.
Because it's a little lopsided.
It is a little silly at a certain point.
Oh yeah, no, I'm making it on my own, but I'm being trained by Rocky Balboa. No, yeah.
I'm also, not wanting to write off the coattails of my name, but I happen to be the son of my surrogate uncle's best friend / rival. But yeah. I'm totally doing this on my own.
I want to make it as a chef on my own terms, but I also got my uncle teaching me. Maybe you've heard of him, Gordon Ramsay?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
No, I like their relationship in this. I like how quickly Adonis takes to calling him Unc and how Rocky just rolls with it.
Yeah, it's definitely a thing of, you can see the first time Adonis calls Rocky Unc, very clearly he's like, I don't know if I like this, but I'm gonna roll with it.
Yeah, I guess I'll take this.
Mm-hmm.
He also starts up a relationship with his neighbor, Bianca, played by Tessa Thompson. She's good in this.
Oh yeah, she's good in this.
Arguably, she's too good for him.
she kind of is, because she does a great job kind of calling him out on his BS. There are a couple points where it does seem a little bit contrived, but it is contrived in a way that does kind of cut down to the nitty-gritty of Adonis's MO for doing things. And she does a great job of being the foil to his stubbornness in a lot of the movie.
Yeah. Also, she's a little bit of a ball buster herself, when she's blaring her music super loud, and then when he comes to her about it, she's like, oh yeah, I'll turn it down, you won't hear a thing, immediately starts blaring it again.
Yeah.
It's I know he was kind of a dick about it, but also, that is excessively loud. But it makes sense, considering she's got a hearing impairment that's gradually getting worse, and eventually she will lose her hearing altogether, so...
Yeah. I mean, her and Rocky's relationship in this movie is pretty great. You don't see a lot of it, but it's clear that they gel very quickly. Just the whole scene of her going, it's like, who's that? It's like, oh, he's my uncle. And she just looks at him and goes, but he's white. Rocky just goes, yeah. Been that way for a while.
Yeah, long time. It's one of those... It's barely even acknowledging it. It's just barely a... Yeah, what about it?
Yeah,
it's almost a non sequitur. He's almost veering off into a completely different thing. She might as well be going, wait, I know you from around here. Yeah, long time.
Mm-hmm. No, it was very funny, that. And definitely kind of the thing where it's like, alright, this is the start of these two being good friends.
Yeah, and when they have the plot-mandated second act breakup, Rocky's the one who kind of nudges them back together because Adonis ends up going all the way over to England to fight, what's his name? Right, pretty Ricky Conlon. He's not that pretty.
No, not really.
He's not
Although
unattractive.
Yeah. I mean, so it is worth noting, because I did look this up a little bit after we saw the movie, all the major boxers that are in this movie are played by actual boxers. Actual, former boxers.
Oh, neat.
Tony Bellew was boxing. I mean, he was still boxing when this movie was shot. Same thing with Andre Ward, who played Danny Stuntman Wheeler. and Gabriel Rosado, who plays Leo the Lion, I believe he's still actively boxing. I think he still takes part.
Oh, wow.
But
10 years
yeah.
after the fact, huh? Good for him. Jesus, this movie's 10 years old.
You know what? It honestly doesn't feel like it. It doesn't really feel like it at all. I know that seems kind of weird because, a weird thing to say because I do feel like, kind of in a similar vein to video games, the evolution of changes to movies that very clearly dates them, the gap has gotten a lot smaller within the last 10, 15 years compared to like 20, 30 years ago. But even still, it is a thing of like, yeah, this could pass for a movie that came out within the last year or two, or in all honesty.
There is not as big of a distinction between a movie from the 2010s and a movie from the 2020s as there is between a movie from the 2000s and a movie from the 2010s.
Yes, exactly.
And certainly not as much as there is between, like, the 90s and the 2000s. That's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
But no, so Adonis is going to England to fight Pretty Ricky Conlon, which, again, he's not an ugly guy. Maybe it's comparative, because I mean, when you're a boxer, to come out still looking that good, that's pretty impressive, actually, you know?
After taking several hits.
But he's never been knocked down, that's an important point, so...
Mm-hmm.
You know what, yeah, I guess it makes sense that they'd call him pretty. That's actually a pretty good compliment.
Yeah.
Because it means he's never had a fist to the face hard enough to fuck it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I can dig that. So, Bianca and Adonis are still on the outs at this point, but then she shows up, and Rocky is talking to Adonis about it, and he's just constantly double-taking at the door the entire time.
Yeah, which is just a massive tell. Like, why are you still looking at the door? It's like, I'm not looking at the door. Okay, this is the most unconvincing I've ever seen Sylvester Stallone in my life. And this man was one of the lead actors in Death Race 2000.
Right. So they hear a knock on the door, and they get up to go see who it is, and it's Bianca, obviously, and he just goes, "Oh, hey, Bianca, what are you doing here?" Like, he didn't set it up.
Yeah, it's like, "Hey, Bianca, fancy meeting you here in London, England." Where you just in the neighborhood.
You ain't fooling no one, Rocky. You ain't fooling no one.
You're right.
I feel like this is kind of a weird thing to only just be getting to, but the boxing in this is solid.
Very.
It's pretty visceral.
It is bloody.
And yet, not excessively so.
Mm-hmm.
There's, especially in the last fight of the movie, there's a lot of blood, but at no point do I feel particularly squeamish, except for Donnie's eye.
Yeah, Donnie's eye is definitely hard to look at, and for him, probably to look through.
That is some good makeup.
Yeah, whoever did the makeup in this movie, the team did a great job. And honestly, the impact of the boxing in this movie isn't so much from the injuries or whatever, it's from the way bodies react when they get hit. Just anytime someone lands a square hit on the side of someone's head and you see the speed at which the recipient's head turns and then how quickly they have to turn it back, ooh, that's uncomfortable. You can tell the impact of the hit just from how much their head moves in a very short amount of time.
Yeah, it does a really good job emphasizing the physicality of the whole thing.
Yeah. In
later movies, Creed 3 in particular, I feel like, I mean, I haven't seen them in a bit, not since I watched Creed 3 until, well, okay, not counting this one, obviously. I haven't seen Creed 2 and Creed 3 since I last saw Creed 3 in theaters, but I feel like in Creed 3 in particular, it got a little more stylized and a little more, not quite anime-esque, but a little more that than not. Here it's a little bit more restrained.
Yeah.
And I think that works to its favor. Not that I didn't like Creed 3, I did.
Yeah.
But that's not what this is about.
At the end of the day, it feels a lot more realistic overall.
Yeah. Also, there's a cancer subplot.
There is a cancer subplot. I don't... It's... God almighty, it really is a thing of, I don't want to, knock down cancer and the seriousness it has, especially since in this movie, there is a definite sincerity to how not only the cancer is portrayed and all that, but also how Rocky reacts to it, especially after dealing with the loss of his wife, Adrian. But it is kind of a thing of when they say, oh, it's cancer, it's like, why is it always fucking cancer? I get that cancer has probably... I imagine the reasons, because if there's anything that has a massive impact on a general audience, cancer is going to do it better than any other equally lethal but lesser known disease. But it is just a thing it's always cancer. And this might just be me being nitpicky and a kind of an asshole, but for me it does also lose a little bit of impact during the bit where Apollo, because jumping around a little bit, Apollo... There's
Adonis. Too many A's.
There are a lot of fucking A's, and no easy A's for that matter. Adonis goes to support Bianca at a major show that she's been wanting to do for a while gets into a fight with the guy who organized the show, which fucked up the whole thing. And the reason he did that is because he found out that Rocky was diagnosed with cancer and refuses to get treatment for it, which is not helping his headspace. And it's a thing of, I understand what they're going for, but it loses a little bit of impact when he goes to apologize to Bianca after the shit that he pulled and goes, Rocky's sick, he has cancer, and that's why I fought the showrunner. I understand where they're going for, but if this was a remotely real situation, the woman or whoever else on the other party would just be like, alright, get the fuck out of my face.
That would still be a girl, run moment. Shut the door, don't let him back in. But since this is a movie, it's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
It's fine.
Yeah, and like I said, I don't want to discount how shitty cancer is and how horrible it can be to deal with for both the recipient and the people who care about them. But goddamn, it's kind of like having the Joker show up unnecessarily in Batman movies.
Or movies that aren't Batman at all. Isn't that right, Suicide Squad?
Yeah.
Boy, if I had a nickel for every time I referenced Suicide Squad in a video about Creed, I'd have 2 nickels.
It's not a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice.
It's very weird. Very weird. Now, this was a successful movie. It made $173.6 million against a budget somewhere in the neighborhood of $40 million. So, that's really dang good.
Yeah.
And then it spun off, not spun off, but it resulted in 2 sequels, and I believe they're still working on a 4th one?
Oh, really?
I think so. I remember seeing that there was a mention of a Creed 4 being worked on.
Okay. I mean, I haven't watched 2 or 3, so I can't comment on them. I don't know if Creed 3 has a definitive ending to it or not.
Nah, I wouldn't call it definitive.
Okay, fair.
In that none of these feel like... All these feel like they could just end, but none of them feel like they have to be the end, you know?
Yeah, they feel like if they stopped right now, it would be fitting, but it's open enough to where they could and probably will make another one as long as it makes more money.
Okay, yeah, as of November 2023, it was in active development.
Okay.
So we'll see how that goes, I suppose.
Mm.
And also, I believe this was pretty well received, especially because there was obviously some skepticism when it was first announced as, you know, oh, look, it's Jim Henson's Rocky Babies, but...
Mm.
But no, I thought this was a pretty damn good movie.
Yeah, it was a good time. It was a fun watch, for sure.
Someday, I'll go back and I'll watch the other Rocky movies, and then I'll come back to this one, and I'll probably have an even better appreciation for it.
Mm-hmm.
Because as it is now, I recognize the overt references, like the very end of the movie with them walking up the stairs. I know that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what else we didn't bring up? The soundtrack in this.
The soundtrack in this movie, both licensed and score. I mean, the score in this movie was great. This movie has good music overall, but the score is really, really well done. Yeah. Especially, God, I know I should have known the Rocky theme was gonna make an appearance at some point. Mm-hmm. But, you know, it goes a certain length of time without, and you start to think, okay, they're just gonna give him his own thing. And then, near the very end, you just hear, da 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 da. Oh, hell yeah, there we go. Yeah, it's in there, but it doesn't feel like it's shoehorned in. It does feel like an appropriate use of the motif. It does. Plus, I mean, Tupac's in this. Mm-hmm. Which... It's weird because I feel like there's not a lot of times that you hear a Tupac song in a major theatrical movie, but it does work and honestly fit pretty perfectly in here. Also, Childish Gambino, Ludwig Göransson, and Vince Staples have a track. Mm-hmm. Good hip-hop representation. Yeah. I don't know, I think that about wraps this up, yeah? Yeah, I think so. You should watch this. If you haven't seen this, you should absolutely watch it. And if you've never seen another Rocky movie, this does a good job of being pretty self-contained for those who have never seen any of the other films. Yeah, all you need to know is boxing exists. That's it. Yeah, exactly. They'll fill you in on the rest. Mm-hmm. So in that case, thanks so much for watching, everybody. Make sure to hit that... God, why can't I remember to do this earlier? That's frustrating as heck. Ugh. So we have a couple different options for next month's episode, but I kind of like keeping things a surprise, you know? Yeah, sometimes it's a surprise for us, too. Yeah, it means I don't have to lock myself into anything and then explain why we didn't end up doing that thing. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, I also still don't have an outro. Bye! Bye-bye.